Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, and we're now on day 3 of E3. And so far, I've really enjoyed E3. I think there's been a lot of great games that's been showed so far. I thought the Xbox event was excellent. Ubisoft did solid. Square Enix was, it was alright, but there's still more games being announced as of this moment. So we're gonna go over those games today, plus we got some more information on some Xbox games that was announced yesterday, and that includes both Halo Infinite as well as Starfield, both of which are sounding really good. I said yesterday that Halo Infinite blew me away, and that really continues on today as they gave us some more information about its multiplayer game mode, and just wow, it really is sounding excellent. On top of all that, we also got some PlayStation news, and even though they're not quite at E3 this year, there's still some exciting things coming out on their end as well, and that includes an exciting upcoming partnership. So don't go anywhere, and we will talk about all that. First though, I want to talk about a few different games that was announced at the PC Gaming Show and the Future Games Show, because quietly, there was a few exciting games that was announced at these events. And right away, we're going to talk about 4 different games, including Tinykin. Now, Tinykin is a really unique-looking 3D platformer with that 2D art style. It kind of reminds me of Pikmin in a way in how you solve its puzzles, but with more of a focus on its platforming. I think this could turn out to be a winning combination, and here's what really sold me on this game. This game is actually being developed by Splash Team, and if you don't know who Splash Team is, they're the developers behind Splasher, which is highly inspired by Rayman. Now, I've talked about this game on the channel a few different times because I legitimately believe that Splasher is one of the best 2D platformers that came out last generation. It is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I have complete confidence that they can make another good game, and I'm excited to see what they can do with a 3D platforming Pikmin-like game. Definitely keep an eye out for Tinykin. Now, we're still kind of waiting for a release date, but it is supposed to release sometime in 2022 for PC and unannounced consoles. Hopefully, it'll come to every console, but, I guess we'll see what happens with all that. Now, here I have a game that JRPG fans are really going to be interested in, and that is SacriFire. Yeah, right away you can see this game was heavily inspired by 90s JRPGs and that more modern take of Octopath Traveler. I really like this trend of these old school JRPGs having that modern HD graphics, and it just looks really pretty together. I'm loving the combination so far, and when you see a game like SacriFire, it really does look stunning in motion, especially if you like old school JRPGs. A lot of people do believe the 90s is the golden age of JRPGs, so seeing a game like this is really exciting for fans of those type of games. I know this game immediately stood out to me, and if you do like what you're seeing, you can actually go support this game on their Kickstarter, which is live right now. And the good news is that they're looking to release this game on PC, the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. So nobody's going to be left behind, and again, if you do like what you're seeing, check out their Kickstarter, which I will have a link to in the description below. Another genre that I really like, though, would be Metroidvanias. And there was a really interesting Metroidvania that popped up during the Future Games Show, being Greek Memories of Azure. And wow, this game actually looks really good. First off, the art style immediately stands out, and it's easy to see why. It really does look pretty, but it's so much more than that. The gameplay actually looks really interesting as well, and it's got a nice little twist on the genre. So yes, this is a Metroidvania style game, but you actually have control of 3 different characters here, each of which have their own unique abilities, and not only will that make for fun combat, but I believe that it will also make for some compelling puzzles as well. I think that's a great take on a genre like this. It kind of reminds me of something like Trine, but in a world like Hollow Knight. So I'm actually really interested in this one. And the good news is that we're not gonna have to wait too long to play this game. It will be out on August 17th for the Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and PC. So once again, nobody's being left out, and this is just absolutely fantastic news, especially if you like the Metroidvania style genre. Another game that we're going to highlight just real quick, though, would be Far Changing Tides. Now, some of you all might recognize this one right away because this is actually a sequel to Far Lone Cells. And the first game was well received, with it winning awards, and it also has an 80 overall score on Metacritic. It's kind of a relaxing puzzle platformer, and it's just well crafted for what it is. So I know a lot of people really like the first game, and they're surely going to be happy with this game getting a sequel, but instead of you journeying these like dry desert-like lands, instead, here you'll be traveling over the sea, and you can even do deep dives underwater. That could make for some fun gameplay, but do expect another meditative experience with Far Changing Tides. But all in all, yeah, I think there was quite a few good-looking independent games that's been announced at E3 so far, and yeah, let me know in the comments below on if any of these games interest you. Moving on, though, let's go back and take a look at Final Fantasy Origin, which we talked a little bit about yesterday. But really, since the announcement of this game, it's been nothing short of chaos. I mean, honestly, I was not blown away by what they had to show at this event for Final Fantasy Origin. I was expecting a lot more out of this. This game did leak out ahead of time. It was supposed to be some Dark Souls meets Final Fantasy experience, but I just didn't see that. I don't know if it was the design of this game or what. It could have been the narration and all the chaos, but in general, it just did not impress me, and it seems like much of the community kind of agrees with me on that. But here's the thing. Maybe it'll actually play better than what it looked, and that's where the demo comes in. Yes, they did announce a demo, but unfortunately, that demo doesn't exactly work. So far, there's been several reports of this demo being both corrupt and unplayable. So that's not exactly what you want to see. I mean, I know this game's supposed to be chaos and everything, but not quite like this. The good news is that Square Enix is aware of the problems with this demo, so hopefully it gets fixed up here soon. And by the time I post this video, it might have already been fixed, and if that is the case and you've played it already, let me know how you feel about Final Fantasy Origin in the comments below. Is it a fun game? And again, I'm hopeful that it is because I do like the Final Fantasy franchise. Let's talk about some of those Xbox games that was revealed yesterday, though, and we got some updates on both Starfield and then Halo Infinite's multiplayer. Now, first we're going to go over Starfield real quick, and these are just some simple concept art pictures, but this is some next level stuff. Now, usually I wouldn't talk about concept art on a channel, but because there's so little known about Starfield, these concept arts can actually tell us a little bit about what this game will be. So right now, we pretty much only know that this is going to be a Bethesda RPG set in space. That's pretty much all we know. But these pictures here actually shows that there will be a wide variety of locations that you can explore. I mean, in these pictures, you can see some pretty elaborate cities that you can probably explore. You can see some jungle locations. There's a volcano-like location with a crab-looking monster in the background, and this is some pretty impressive stuff. Now, we still need to see how this game plays, but just knowing that there's going to be some pretty expansive environments that you can explore is definitely exciting all on its own. And you know, that is the thing. There's already a lot of excitement for this game simply because it's being built by Bethesda. They have made some of the most popular RPGs to ever exist, being Fallout and The Elder Scrolls. But Starfield could be that next big RPG, and these pictures, while it's not necessarily gameplay and it's not going to be how the game necessarily looks, it just makes it look even more promising than what it already was. And speaking of promising, we absolutely need to talk about Halo Infinite because they revealed some more information about its multiplayer today. And I said yesterday that Halo Infinite's multiplayer just blew me away. And I really do mean that. I think the multiplayer looks excellent, and it seems like it's going to be a return to form of old school Halo games, and then making it even better. The hookshot alone should make for a pretty drastic difference, and there does seem to be a lot of different things that you can do with that hookshot that could end up being a lot of fun. I could definitely see some high skill stuff being done with that hookshot. I mean, you can grab onto vehicles with this thing, launch yourself into the air, you can grab weapons off the ground, and yeah, I think you could do some really cool stuff with this thing and could make for a lot of fun. But that's not the only notable change happening with Halo Infinite. The biggest change might very well possibly be that Halo Infinite's multiplayer is completely free this time. Yes, for the first time ever, Halo Infinite's multiplayer will be a free-to-play experience, and for longtime fans, there is that concern on how they're going to deal with this game being free-to-play. How are they going to monetize it, and will it be a pay-to-win experience? Well, the good news is that no, this will not be a pay-to-win experience, as the only thing that you can purchase in this game is cosmetic-type items, and even better is that there will be no loot boxes in this game, but instead they will opt out on using battle passes. And right away, that's really good news to hear, but something cool about this is that these battle passes will actually never expire once you purchase them. And then on top of that, you can actually buy old battle passes as well. So this is just the perfect way of handling something like this. 343 so far is just absolutely knocking it out of the park with Halo Infinite's multiplayer. As I said yesterday, this is exactly what I wanted to see with this game, and you know, it just keeps sounding better and better, so cannot wait to play this game myself. Now, they did drop a few other little tidbits about this game, and that includes the training academy where you can play up against bots and do different types of tutorials. This will be a great way to practice. There's also going to be vehicle and weapon drop-offs in the game, which is definitely going to be different because Halo in a lot of ways has always been about map control, but with these weapon and vehicle drop-offs, that could change how the game is actually played. Another thing that they also mentioned was the customization, and it's starting to become very evident that they have put a lot of time into the customization of your individual Spartan. I mean, you can change the size of the Spartan's body, their voice, guns, armor, and even the AI assistant. There's a lot of customization in this game, and it kind of reminds me of Halo 3, but on steroids. There's also going to be an individual app that you can customize your Spartan while you're away from the game, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of things happening here, and if you do like customization, you're really going to love what they're doing with Halo Infinite. But again, I mean, this game just keeps sounding better and better, and I think this is going to be a special experience for Halo fans when it releases this holiday. Now, we also need to talk about PlayStation real quick because we got some more information on that Deviation Games partnership. Now, this was first announced last week at the Summer Game Fest, and Deviation Games is a really interesting studio because their leadership is coming from Treyarch, which has worked on Call of Duty games in the past. So there is some talent within the studio, and with PlayStation partnering up with them, they could work on something very special together. I mean, we don't really know much about whatever they're working on as of this moment, but we did get some new information that I certainly think will be exciting for PlayStation fans. So check this out. Apparently, they have complete financial security for years and years to come. They have access to all central services that big first-party studios also use, and they're already at over 100 plus employees. Now, I wasn't really expecting them to have that many employees because I thought this was just some independent studio that was building up right now, but apparently they have enough funding to already get 100 plus employees, which is very impressive. So I think on paper, everything is sounding really good, and I like what PlayStation is doing here. This is something that we have been seeing PlayStation do here recently, especially in the last year. They did this last generation with Kojima Studios and Death Stranding, but this time they've already signed on 3 different partnerships that I can think of off the top of my head. You have New Haven, which is the Jade Raymond studio. Then you have Firewalk Studios, which has former Destiny developers in it, and now you have Deviation Games, which has talent from the Treyarch studio. So they're starting these partnerships with proven talent within the industry, and by giving them complete financial security, we could see some really good games come from this. If anything, this immediately helps these studios get started off, and I just find this to be absolutely fantastic for both PlayStation and these independent studios alike. I mean, this is a great way for these indie studios to get started off. They can immediately build up their studio and build the game that they truly want to. And then you have PlayStation, and they're betting on these studios to make great games. Again, there's proven talent within these studios, and if they made the right bet, they might end up getting a really good exclusive in the future. So I just think this is a win-win in both situations, and more importantly, it's a win for gamers. If these studios do indeed make a great game, well, at the end of the day, the gamer wins because that's a great game that would not have existed otherwise. So I really like what PlayStation is doing here. And onto the poll of the day, or actually polls of the day this time, because I actually had 2 polls posted over the last 24 hours. And the first of which was, what was your favorite reveal at the Xbox and Bethesda E3 showcase? And first place goes to Halo Infinite with 35%, and then Forza Horizon 5 was second at 32%. And okay, both of those were very exciting. Halo Infinite, as I said earlier, just kind of blew me away. So I would agree with Halo Infinite here. I just think that the multiplayer reveal was absolutely perfect. And for that matter, I did think the story looked interesting as well. But really, there was just so many good games at this showcase. And that actually kind of leads me into the next question, which was, what letter grade would you give the Xbox Bethesda E3 showcase? And it does seem like most of you all really liked this event. 57% of you gave it an A, while 32% of you gave it a B. That means the wide majority of you were very satisfied with this event. Now, for myself, I would say this was a really good event. Not only did they talk about a lot of their first-party content, including Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon, The Outer Worlds 2, you had Redfall, you had Starfield, and so many more, but also Xbox Game Pass continues to look amazing. There was so many day one Xbox Game Pass titles here, and that includes a Plague Tale sequel. That includes Back 4 Blood, Hades, and, so many more. There was just a lot of Xbox Game Pass games here, and there was a lot of first-party games here, so there was a lot to be excited for if you own an Xbox. But at the same time, I would have really liked to have seen a big surprise gameplay reveal here. We did get that Redfall reveal, but that was CGI, and I would have liked to have seen something really exciting in terms of gameplay. So that's the one thing that I think this event is missing, but beyond that, it's still an excellent event overall. I'd probably give it an A- or B+. But regardless, it really was an excellent event, and Xbox fans should really be excited about what they saw at E3 2021. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.